21 days in Western Canada, from Calgary to Vancouver. If you're planning this with spreadsheets, blog posts, and thousands of browser tabs, then you're doing it wrong. I planned the whole trip using Mindtrip, Google My Maps, ChatGPT, and Wonderlog. And I'll show you exactly how you can do it and finish it within minutes. So Western Canada isn't just a simple trip. You have 3,000 kilometers to pass ferries, remote highways, national park reservations, gas stations, and the mistake most people make are actually not saving this information somewhere, meaning in your Google Docs, in spreadsheets, or maybe in your itinerary planner like Wonderlog. Also some ideas where you could go to which restaurants. And we know all some preparation in advance are super helpful. That doesn't mean you plan out each single minute, but you're gonna be prepared and you know where to find things. And if you travel with a family or a bigger group, then it can be super useful and is one of the stress drivers that you will face during the trip. So what you can use to do instead that also helps you building your next trip in minutes is using Google My Maps in combination with Mindtrip, ChatGPT, and Wonderlog. And Google My Maps will kind of be your digital brain, as you can collect information about the driving route, accommodations, must-see hikes, food stop, gas stations, ferry reminders, and booking notes. And you can layer all these different things in different ways and sort it and bundle it in a way that it makes sense and easy to find for you. And you can also have this available offline, which makes it a great option. So the first thing you're going to do is, I'll show it on the screen. You go over to Google My Maps, Google My Maps, enter it in your system, and then you get there immediately. And this is the overview you get. And the first thing I want to show you here is how easy you can adjust certain things. So when you create a new card from the beginning, it looks like that. Create, and then you enter the title you want to have for your maps. In this case, let's say 21 days, Calgary to Vancouver, and then you save it. And with layering, I mean, you have these different layers that you can add. And maybe the first layer is about route. What you can do now is actually say and entering all the stops you want to have. You don't want to be in Calgary, you don't want to be in Banff, Jasper, all the places you want to have in there, and you can add them. One important thing though to note is if you add destinations, and I'll show you afterwards an easy way how you can add them easily by yourself, is if you want to have the route option. For example, if you enter Calgary, you start at the airport, and then you add it to your card, and when you click here on the route icon, it starts a new layer for you where you can enter your route option. So for example, enter Banff, and we sort that a bit. That makes sense. Let's say Lake Louise, but then it shows you the whole route for you. So the important thing here to note is you can only add 10 places if you use this option. And another great thing is if you are in a city and want to explore a city, and beforehand you gather some point of interest, you could add them in a similar layer like that one, but then name it maybe Explore Calgary by foot. That's a great one. And then you say Calgary downtown to maps, and you want to have directions. So that was a bad example, obviously, but delete it. And then you say by car. You can choose by car, bicycle, or by foot. And then you write down here downtown Calgary, and then you get the gist with the walking distances and how you have to get there to these different places, which makes it a great option actually, so to use. So getting back to the whole itinerary. So 21 days, like I said, it can be quite a hassle to fill out all the stuff, but you want to avoid going through blog posts and thousands of browser tabs. So the easy thing here would be we build out first the route with a little help, our virtual assistant. And that's the second point here. And here we go to Mindtrip. I already have created beforehand base itinerary to make it showable, that you don't need to wait for the results. But I went to Mindtrip AI and I entered, I plan to make a trip to Western Canada and to see the provinces, Alberta and British Columbia. We are a family of 4, 2 adults, 2 children, which are 9 and 13, and we have a total of 21 days. Could you help us building in the itinerary? One drawdown of Mindtrip is it won't build the whole itinerary at once. So after a few stops and days, you need to push the AI to create the whole trip. You have to do it actually a second time to finish it to 21 days. But the main thing is, when you look at Mindtrip, you already get the gist of the whole trip. In here, the locations, and you can go through day by day to see what you're gonna do, which is already great. It gives you a great start and you haven't spent hours of doing research to do that. Of course, there are options in there that says, oh, what crowd's there? There are lesson known stuff. If many people are there, go to this location. That isn't in there, but it's a great start. And what you can do now is, and that's what I did also beforehand, I wanted to get this route into Google My Maps. So what did I do? I went to ChatGPT and I asked ChatGPT, I put the whole itinerary in there, left it and asked to create me a PDF. And the reason is simple. This way, you already have a PDF ready with your trip. It's a basis, so if you don't want to spend extra more minutes, you already have a start that you can use also to build out your Google My Maps. But we don't want to stop here because as you saw in here, it can be quite time consuming to add these different stops. And especially if I show you a different example I made for another video, if you want to check out the 10-day itinerary Banff Jasper. Oh no, it's not that one. Sorry for that. It's this one. So what I basically did was, and that's also a great example of bundling certain themes together, I added the base camps like Calgary, Banff, Jasper, Edmonton. And what you can do is to change what you could see so that you only see the base camps. And if you don't want to see the base camps, you see in here famous crowd-prone destinations. You could find the quieter hidden gems. I also have added wildlife zones in Banff and Jasper to make sure you see this wildlife while you are on your dream trip. And here's an example of logistics and bookings as well, so that you can put this together. I set in here a table. That's a different way to do it. But getting back to it, doing this manually can be quite time consuming. Instead, I asked ChatGPT to create a CSV file for me. So firsthand, I asked ChatGPT how you would structure it, that it can control what it would get out of the files. Then secondly, he gave me an answer, and then I went through his proposal, and then ChatGPT came up with a few questions, which is helping also you to narrow down and get to your results much better and faster. And when I answered the questions ChatGPT asked me, but also I wanted to have a layer for that I can build a route, that I see where I'm going. And that's what he done in the end. He created me a downloadable CSV layer pack in a zip file. Thank you. It is under my downloads, as you see here, with all the different layers. And now it's very easy. You can add all these layers yourself. If you go back, it's that one. If you go back, and then that's why I asked to create a CSV file. I wouldn't use an Excel, and you could also use Excel files with different sheets. And theoretically, it would be able to ask you which sheet you want to pull in. But I bet I had a bad experience. It didn't work out, so I recommend using CSV files. But getting back to the point, I delete this part here. I want to add a different layer. And now I can say import. And if we go back to the layer here, all right, let's start with the directions helper, the first one here. Zack, pull it in, and you've got the whole trip in it. Now it's going to ask you, what are the address? Then second would be the stop name, what's the title of it, and then it adds you the whole thing. And it shows you all elements in here. And now what you can do is you change the icon of this destination. This way when you look at it, it's clear for you to distinguish where, what, how, whatever that's recognizable for you. And let's say destination, maybe find something. No. Place. Let's go. That's really what I want. Otherwise, you need to take a 4. So let's take the heart. Okay, and then you give a color, zack, and now all your elements got these colors. And what you can do now, we've mentioned before that you can't have more than 10 destinations in one route. So you need to split up a direction. And then you would pull in here Banff, what we have, Lake, Louise, and now you go on a force. Now you have a layer with the directions. And then what else we're going to do? As an example, we add a layer with the logistics. Let me see where we have it. There you go. Then let's see what else it took out. Now, okay, now let's see what happens. And the great thing is with the CSV file, it also imported a description. So it tells you what to do. It shows you the day. So it either have a hint where you need to look at. Then also ferry wise, it's now hiding back here. Then down here, when you pull the map, it shows you afterwards where you need to look at. Then the ferry on day 11 and 20, for example. Then you have some insights. That's great. So then you can add a different area. Let's say we talk about the Rockies. Let's see what it took in here. It's also the first thing for me that I will figure out. Same thing, same process, and let's see what it builds in. Quick pause here. If this already is helping you think differently and plan differently, then hit subscribe. This channel is about turning big Western Canada holidays into your dream trip, smart, stress-free, and not just showing the braided views and turns. Now let's keep building. So here it added accommodations, options, some reasons why, and so on and so forth. And the great thing now is when you go through this itinerary, you can always adjust it. When you say hotels are too expensive, that would be the case for us. Then we look for Airbnbs and we put and paste everything in here. Then the other great thing is if you want to know, you know, turn off that one I want to show, but I don't want to see the directions to get a clear view. That one isn't it. That one I didn't want to see exactly. That one either. Where we have it, there it is. So if you look now at all the locations we have, you need to find accommodations in these places here. And I would recommend is to do now, go through Airbnbs, VRBOs to find these locations, accommodations, maybe also different hotels with Expedia to save some money, and then look there where you can stay. It's way easier and cheap. And then the same thing, if you don't have it in here on the logistics, find the gas stations. There's also a page where it shows the prices of the different gas stations, so you can plan a bit where you want to fill up your car with gasoline. Also a great option if you want to check a bit on the budget. And of course, when you drive from Banff to Jasper, there is not much of an option in fueling because along the Icefields Parkway, there's no gas station at all. And that brings me to the next point. In general, when you drive the Icefields Parkway right here, it has no self-service. Fuel gas stations aren't there. And what I would do in that case, and that's what I've done with the other map here, when you drive an iconic highway like the Icefields Parkway, mark yourself some pullouts and stops along the route, because to be honest, this highway is an adventure itself, and you want to know where you should stop, because you want to avoid that you stop each half an hour, because each single spot looks so amazingly beautiful. I know what I'm talking about. And this way that helps you planning a bit ahead. And of course, you can plan the whole trip also with, you see, as an example, that's if you work together with Mindtrip and Google My Maps. And no, it's not that one. Let me see. I need to find the one that I made publicly available guides here. That one. I can share the link below for you so you can take a look at it. And that's the final step I would do. I would then plan out the whole trip with Wonderlog, and it gives you a bit nicer visualization. There's also a ton of options where you can add notes, restaurants to add and stuff, and to add it. But it might be a bit easier to have kind of a database with all your stuff in it. And that one is great for visualization, as it also contains all the ratings, phone numbers, pages, so in general, the contact details. You could also see, let me see if it's available. No, in here it's, but that doesn't matter. Anyway, you see the whole route here as well, day by day basis, with insights, ideas. You can pull that in, you could pull that all in as well, of course, which is great. But certain things aren't very nicely doable. Certain things aren't as well doable as it is with Google My Maps. That's why also we gotta use Google My Maps as a database for our 2-month trip, where we'll add all the restaurants in it, all the restaurant ideas. So what you want to basically have is a nice overview to see where you can go with your kids to eat. And as soon as I'm done with this map, I'm gonna finish it up after the video, grab the template, download it for yourself, and adjust it if necessary. And also always when you do planning, also with that mapping, always plan in some backup plans that you know what you can do in case something happens. Always make sure that you check current hazard pages or wildfire updates, more road work updates, in case that you won't get surprised. Sometimes it will show on Google Maps as well. If you want to have a head start, I've linked the whole Google My Maps trip below, together with the Mindtrip link and the PDF sheet. Duplicate it, customize it, make it yours. If you're serious about planning Western Canada tours the smart way, subscribe to the channel or book a call with me via Calendly to get some tips and ideas how you can do and plan your things, even with some inside tips. I test routes, tools, and planning systems, so you don't waste your time doing it, although I'm sitting in Switzerland. So open Google My Maps, drop your first pin. That's how actually our trip will begin as well this year. And I'll see you on the road then.